Hello and welcome to Whisky Resource. My name's Mark. This is review number 31. So today I'm going to be reviewing a relatively new whisky to the market. It was actually launched February of this year. That's February 2020. Okay, so it's this thing here. It's called Waterproof. It is a blended malt Scotch whisky. So it's a blended malt whisky. I actually came across this while I was browsing on Amazon. I've not seen it listed anywhere else. It's not on any of the big online retailers. Literally just Amazon at the moment. It's the latest release from Macduff International, not to be confused with Macduff Distillery. They're a separate entity. So Macduff International. They do other whiskies such as Islay Mist. So you can go check them out at their website, which is macduffinternational.com. Waterproof. Okay, so they've got their own website as well, which is waterproofwhisky.com. So there's not an awful lot about this particular product other than their website. It's bottled at 45.8% ABV. It's described as a sherry influenced malt whisky for a rainy day. You need to go and check their website out because there's quite a bit of information on there. They've around the brand. So they've put a list of different words that rain has, different ways of describing rain, different names for rain. It's all part of the waterproof concept, which is to do with water being the important element of whisky, because whisky wouldn't exist without water. The proof part of it is a nod back to the Old English way of measuring alcohol strength with proof. The two words combined, waterproof, is a hark back to the Macintosh raincoat, which is represented by this rubber tag here, as well as the kind of rubber effect waterproof, because there's like little waterproof water droplets on the label. So you need to check out their website because there's quite a bit of information on there. So they started with a cryptic tweet about it looks like it's going to pour, and then that followed on with the product release. So as I say, it's bottled at 45.8% ABV, and that is sherry influence. That's really all we know about it. It retailed on Amazon for £33.45. This is batch 1, it says so much on the label. So because there was very little information, I actually contacted Macduff International to try and find out a bit more information about this particular whisky. So I had some questions that they kindly answered for me. So what they've said is that it's made with a handful of mainland malts. So that means that we don't have any of the island malts in there. So there's like no Talisker, no Jura, no Highland Park. No Islay, it's purely mainland. I'm also going to make a guess before I open it that there's no Campbelltown in here either. I suspect this is going to be an unpeated, unsmoked whisky. They did tell us that it's a blend of a handful of single malts from mainland Scotland. So a handful. It's 5 a handful, so we're suspecting 5. On the subject of age, it's a non-age statement blend, but what they did say is that the oldest malt in there is 14-year-old, and then the second oldest malt is a 13-year-old. They did say that both malts contribute a significant proportion of the blend. So a significant proportion, if there's 5 malts in there, is that 50%? Is it more? Don't know, but you know, it sounds good. 14-year-olds going in there. They did say that it's a blend of both ex-bourbon and ex-sherry matured whiskies that they've then expertly blended together to create this particular malt blend. It has been chill filtered, even though it does sit very close to the 46%. It has been chill filtered, and they have added in a little bit of caramel colour. What they've said is that for the purpose of batch consistency, to hit the kind of the colour that they wanted, they did have to add that little bit of caramel colour in there. So terms of a value score, it hits 88.62 out of 100. So if you've not watched my videos before, the value score is basically the average price of the whiskey. In this case, it was only one price I was able to go with, that of Amazon, so $33.45. We then factor in a number of things. We'd normally factor in age, but then we've got things like chill filtration and colour, and then the ABV. And we'll put that into a magic formula that I've created, and it spits out a value score out of 100. So the higher, the closer it is to 100, the better the value the whiskey. Now, I've only reviewed 2 other blended malts. So there was Monkey Shoulder, and there was Johnny Walker Green Label. This actually comes out with a value score better than those 2, so it's a better value blended malt. It is sherry influenced, and I do like my sherry influenced whiskies, so I'm looking forward to trying this one. So in terms of tasting notes, because there aren't any tasting notes on their website, they say that they would rather the whiskey speak for itself than to provide tasting notes. What they actually say to me is, so they'll just call it a very sippable sherry influenced malt whiskey. It's complex, balanced and long lasting. It has dried fruit sweetness. It's bottled at a higher than normal strength, which I've mentioned is 45.8. I suppose they're referring to 40%, which a lot of blended malts sit at. The kind of the consumer aimed blended malts, let's say. They've deliberately not made any long and wordy flavour descriptions, simply because we prefer to focus on the whiskey and enjoy people's descriptors and feedback. So this sounds good. But what does it taste like? Let's find out. I say I've been looking forward to trying this when I saw it. I was intrigued, to be honest. I was intrigued by the concept they came up with. I was actually laughing at their April Fool tweet that they put out. So as a new brand, obviously Macduff International has been going for a few years, but as a new product to market, I thought their tweet was quite funny. But I'll let you go and check them out. You can go and find them on Twitter. There's links from their website. So it's a natural cork. And say it's on the label there, it says batch 1. So does that suggest that there's going to be further batches? What they did say is that this hits the kind of the idea as to what they wanted for the waterproof blend, what they had in mind. So it could change slightly. So on the nose, it's a little bit of sweetness. That's the first thing that hits you. A bit of honey, sherry. There is a bit of sherry on the nose there. Some dried fruits. Maybe a tiny bit of apple and pear, even. The alcohol isn't present. You can detect the alcohol strength there. There's a tiny bit of juvenile spirit, tiny bit. And I was getting a tiny bit of smoke. I mean, almost none. That could just be maybe not so clean glass, but it's faded away. But the nose isn't bad. Now, they did say that they intend this to be an everyman's whiskey, really. That is, to be sipped, to be blended into cocktails, and to be drunk long as a mixer on the palate. Sweet, it's creamy, fruity. I am getting apples and pears. I'm getting dried fruits. I'm getting cranberry, cherry, it is spicy, cinnamon, nutmeg, a little bit of vanilla. It's not overly sweet on the palate, not as sweet as I was expecting to be. Put a little bit of water in here. Just let that sit for a bit. So the bottle, it's quite clean. They don't make any mention of the chill filtration or the colour on the bottle. They've got the alcohol ABV down the bottom, and then they've got the proof there on this rubber collar, the tag. The label's textured with those water droplets on both the front and the back. The website has the same colour scheme and the same logos. I'll quickly load up their website so I can tell you the different brands that they've got. So I mentioned they've got Islay Mist, which is the first one. Then they've got Grand McNish, Lordaz, and then of course the waterproof there. So Grand McNish is a blended Scotch, and then we've got Lordaz, which is a blended Scotch again. So they've got in their blended Scotch for the Lordaz, they've got blended Scotch whiskey called Queen Mary, which is a special reserve, I think it says. Then they've got the regular Lordaz white label, and then they've got a Lordaz ruby cask finish. They all sit at 40% ABV. I haven't seen the Lordaz brand before, so I don't know if that's targeting the UK market. Islay Mist I have heard of. So Islay Mist, they do a original peated blend, and then they do a 10-year-old blend, and they do a 8-year-old blend, which is a Palo Cortado Wellington finish. Interesting. Okay. So some nice blends there, and each of those each of those particular brands have got their own websites. But waterproof. Let's try it with the water. So getting more fruit from it. More of, it's similar to maybe a famous grouse, Glenfiddich, on the nose, with a bit more of that cherry influence there. It's not a bad whiskey. I think I prefer it without the water. I think I do prefer it without the water there. In terms of overall score, I think it's as good, for different reasons, but as good as the John Walker Green, which I scored an 87. I think. Tiny bit of bitterness, oaky finish there. It's unfair to judge whiskies off the first taste. Obviously, what I'll be doing is drinking in the coming weeks and any adjustments that I make to any tastings, I update the website, and I could always readjust the score. But I'm going to go with an 87 for the moment, for an overall score. It is not bad, really. I would say if it was below £30, it would be definitely something to keep in your cabinet. So there we go, an 87 Slange